y'all. My name is Jasmine Jones. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, and you are now watching Black Girl, a Therapist in the Wild. And this is another episode of Therapist Sips and Reviews. So yeah, I'm back home, and what I'm trying to do is, apparently the UK is ahead of us on episodes of I May Destroy You. They're on episode 10. I believe that's what it looks like online when I look up free movies and things. And I'm trying to stop myself from going ahead, because if I go ahead, I'm going to want to make a video for each one. And America's not there yet. So another show came out, I believe, over the weekend. It's called P-Valley. And it is a show about the South. I don't know what state they're in. I know that one of the main characters is coming from Katrina. So one of them is coming from Louisiana, from New Orleans and Katrina, but I don't remember where she ended up at. So excuse me, I'm sorry. But it's called P-Valley, and it's about strippers, and it's about their lives and how they go through things, Black strippers. And the first episode was really good. So the first episode was called Perpetratin. And let's get started. So it starts off with the main character. She's light skinned. Her name is Haley. We find that out later in the series, though, what her actual name is. And she is walking around. She has bruises on her face and things like that. It's a flood. The flood just happened, I'm assuming. So she's walking around, bruises on her face, and she finds a suitcase. And she looks up on a nice blouse is in the suitcase. It's floating in the water that is from the flood. And so I think this is like circa 2005, basically. That's when the Katrina hit, right? Sorry if I don't know. But she was walking around where it's flooded, and she looks up on the suitcase with a wallet in it, a purse, a blouse, and a skirt. So she takes the suitcase. The wallet has an ID in there. The woman kind of looks like her. You didn't really see her face that well. It was just like a lighter skinned woman, or Latin woman, or white woman with black straight hair. So didn't really see her face that well. But anyways, we skip to the next scene, and she's on the bus. She's on the Greyhound leaving Louisiana. And it probably said on the Greyhound where the Greyhound was going, but it doesn't really matter. Maybe she went to Atlanta. I'm trying to figure out where she went. Okay, but anyway, she's on the bus, on the Greyhound. I think there's other Katrina survivors on there. There's a little boy that has a lot of bruises on him as well. And it seems like she's having flashbacks to being abused. So she's escaping domestic violence. It appears like she's escaping domestic violence. And the bus makes a pit stop at a gas station, and for everyone to use the bathroom. It's not its destination. And she gets off at the pit stop. And, she leaves. She takes her suitcase and the one that she found, and she leaves. The bus driver's like, "Where are you going?" Blah, blah, blah. And she's just walking. She left. So we switch over to Pink's. That is a strip club. And we see that Haley has put on the blouse, put on the skirt. I'm just wondering how water didn't leak into the suitcase and not mess up everything in the suitcase, but whatever. So she has the blouse on, she has the skirt. She, I guess she got a hotel room or something, and she cut her hair and she dyed it black. Or she didn't cut it, she dyed it black and then straightened it, because she had like a blonde, curly, loose curled fro and things like that. So she is trying to get into Panks. That's what it's. Panks. P-Y-N-K-S. Panks. I love country accents. I love it. My family was from Texas, so I'm just like, oh, this sounds so cool. So she's trying to get into Panks. Panks is owned by Uncle Clifford. Uncle Clifford is a transgender woman. And Haley is in line to try to get into Panks. And the bouncer guy, his name is Diamond. big, broad-shouldered, looks like he's a good 6'5", big arms, big legs, big everything. The man is beautiful. Okay, I know you hear a lot on here, me talking about, oh, he's just not my type. He is my type. That's my type, okay? Only, with like a career and, humbleness and kindness and everything. Anyways, she's trying to get into Panks. It costs $30 for women, $20 for men. I'm assuming she's trying to get a job there. She's not just going to the strip club. I'm assuming she stripped before. Because you just came off the Greyhound, changed your identity, and now you're at some random strip club. So she's trying to get in, and it's $30 for women, $20 for men. And she goes, oh, Poof's back. It's $30 for women and $20 for men. And she only has $20. So she goes, oh, well, I'll give you this $20 and my email. And he's like, no, you need to get out of line. So, I mean, he could have been nice, but whatever. It's whatever. Strip clubs want people in there that have money, that want to throw money around. She wants to go in there and try to get a job. So, she could have just straight up asked for a job, but whatever. Anyways, she's walking out of the line and she sees this twerk contest. There's a group of girls for this twerk contest where you can win $50 and a hot plate. And so she jumps in line with them. So she's going to shake it and get her $50 and a hot plate. You got to do what you got to do. When it comes to sex work, I don't know 100% about it. Just from what I've seen, like I watch like stripper vlogs, and then I've had clients who have done sex work. There's various reasons people get into sex work. Trauma, escaping trauma, or you just are very in tune with your body and you see it as a piece of art and you want to express that art to the world, which one of the strippers in the show does. And I think that's very cool, like admirable that they're representing sex work in a way where it's not always, well, she did experience trauma, but she turned it into something that was her own. There you go. That's better. So, she's escaping. Haley is escaping domestic violence, it appears, because she keeps having flashbacks of some guy hurting her or something like that. So Haley goes in with the girls that are supposed to be doing the twerk off to get the $50 on the hot plate. And, it's brought up immediately that she's lighter skinned and all this other stuff. There's the top girl there. Her name is Mercedes. Mercedes is an athlete. Okay, honey? She's an artiste, bitch. So, just want y'all to know that. But anyways, Mercedes is the hot ticket at the club. So, everyone comes to see her. She has her own special day, Mercedes Sundays. And so, she's just side-eyeing her like, this bitch, whatever. Like, like she's had issues with light-skinned women before or something like that. Who knows? But she doesn't say nothing to her at first. So Haley's in there looking around in her chiffon blouse and little skirt and her Yves Saint Laurent purse that she got from somebody else. And then here comes Clifford. And Clifford's like, oh, well, you're not dressed. She's asking everybody's name. And then she gets to Haley and she's like, you're not dressed. Get her dressed. And so she points to this little table where I guess this lady sells G-strings and things like that for the strippers to wear or whatever. And so Haley goes and she's like about to buy the G-string and whatever. She only got $20. And the lady's like, oh, well, I'll give it to you, because she was going to give it to her for $15. So instead she gave it to her for $10 because she saw the look of I'm poor and I don't know what to do right now on her face. Haley then goes and changes into her outfit. And then they slowly just start calling the girls on stage to do the little twerk off. They never show the other girls, Haley, while she's changing into her stripping clothes outfit, Clifford comes in and Clifford's like, oh, what's your name? Because Clifford hadn't asked Haley what her name was yet. So Haley chose the name Autumn Nights. And of course, everybody there is like, oh, that sounds all poetic and shit. I'm just like, well, the country accent, the country language of the South, of black Southerners sound poetic in itself. Like, if you really sit and listen to these people on this show talk, it's like they're speaking poetry. Like, I was just sitting there listening, like, the way that they put the words together and the smoothness of the drawl on each word. And I'm just like, y'all don't realize y'all speaking poetry too. But so autumn nights, she puts on her outfit. And then she goes to the stage and she does, a little twerk, slow motion. She's having flashbacks as she's doing the twerking in slow motion. They just filmed it in slow motion. I don't think she's actually twerking in slow motion. And she's having flashbacks to being abused, and the dude tried to shoot her and stuff. And I think she's using because, a lot of times they portray strippers or sex workers as using drugs to numb any kind of potential triggers that may come up from what can happen in sex work and how you're exposing yourself. But I think she uses her sexuality to kind of help her get through this trigger. Like the look on her face is kind of like she's trying to use her body to calm down her mind. And I think it's kind of cool that can happen in that way. And so, yeah, she's having a flashback and she's stripping at the same time. It's interesting. Isn't mental health interesting? Isn't the brain and behaviors interesting? But anyways, so she wins the dance off, and then she gets her little hot plate, that her $50, and then she asks Clifford if she can work there. Clifford, of course, says yes. And Mercedes got the stank face because, Mercedes just been saying snide stuff about light skins the whole night. And it's just like, okay, girl, just like yourself. You the best one in here. Like, you can do aerobics and shit on the pole. This bitch can't do nothing. I think it's kind of like when you don't feel the same privilege as somebody else. And remember, privilege is based off of how other people see you. But people don't think of it that way. They think that it's also based off of yourself and how you treat the world. No, it's based off how other people treat you. You decide whether or not you want to use that privilege, against folks, or you want to use it to help folks, or you don't want to be bothered with it at all. I'm just gonna be my own fucking person. Fuck you and your privilege, okay? Your ideals of privilege that you're placing on me. I am my own fucking person. So once you kind of see it that way, you can start seeing people as individuals and not letting it get to you like, oh, this is competition, this is somebody that's gonna come and take my spot. As the girls are twerking on stage, Mercedes is talking to Clifford and telling Clifford that, she wants to leave at the end of the month. I don't know what Mercedes wants to do. We don't know yet. But she wants to leave at the end of the month and she's done stripping. She's talented, so I feel like she could do a class. She could be a choreographer for famous people. Pole dancing is a thing now, like in regular homes and not just in strip clubs and stuff. I kind of want to do pole dancing. I just haven't found one because I want to do one that's run by people of color or by black people specifically, because I've heard so many horror stories about pole dancing classes that were not run by people of color and or by black people, and I just don't feel like it. I don't feel like it. So yeah, but I do want to learn because it gets you like really tight, and it's those people are athletes, okay? They are athletes. They're mental athletes having to deal with whatever triggers come up from being a stripper, and they're physical athletes having to climb the pole and hold on to the pole with your legs and spin around. Those people are athletes, okay? So Mercedes wants to leave at the end of the week, at the end of the month. No more Mercedes Sunday. Then that night ends and we go to Haley in her room, and it's this like seedy, gross, dirty, like, I don't know if it's a hotel, motel. It looks like an apartment, like a little studio apartment, but a really dirty one. They kind of pan through the neighborhood. It looks like the hood. It looks like the hood in the forest. Okay. That's what I was like. I was like, this is like where I grew up, only it's in the forest. I think I might have preferred but then I'm like, I think being in the city type area and being in the deep south has their own unique challenges, but would I have preferred to live in the hood in the forest? Like little mythical hood creatures in the forest. Or would I have rather lived in the hood in the big city where there's no trees and nothing that you can just walk into and disappear for a little bit? I don't know. I'm not calling black people creatures though. I'm just saying, like, it made me think of like fairies and I don't know, like gnomes and shit, like, but it's like the hood fairies and the hood gnomes in the forest. That's what it made me. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I just drove a long way and I'm drinking wine mixed with, what is this mixed with? Cream de cacao. I just mixed them together and said, they're both sweet, so why not? Because as you know, I'm not buying new stuff until I drink the old stuff, and I'm not a drinker, so this is what we got. So anyways, Haley's in her hotel studio apartment, whatever, and she's laying on the bed and she's drinking throughout the day, because they work at night, they get to go home in the day and, with hope sleep, but she's drinking, looks like vodka or something. And she's looking at a picture of a little girl on her phone. And the little girl is lighter skin, has curly blonde hair. It looks like it could have been her daughter. And then she puts the phone down on the floor and then she drops her alcohol on the phone. I'm trying to think, in 2005 to 2006, did they have the cloud? Because you could have saved that, Because she reacted real fucked up after that happened. She reacted real, like she was screaming and crying because she lost the only picture of her daughter, I would assume. But I was just like, don't they have the cloud? Like, all my pictures get saved to Google Photos. And all my phone numbers get saved to my Gmail. So no matter what phone I'm on or what I'm doing, I always have my shit. Did they have that in 2005 and 2006? It might be on the SIM card though. I'm trying to solve her problem, y'all. You see this? This is what I need to work on, because it comes up in my therapy sessions where I need to pull a little bit back on trying to solve others' problems and just listen and let them kind of walk down the road of figuring things out for themselves, So yes, it's not about her phone. It's about the fact that she feels like she lost the only tie that she had to her child, which was that picture that was on her phone. She starts screaming, just screaming. And then it cuts to church. I'm assuming it cuts to church. It cuts to church and this woman is singing and Mercedes is in church. So the other night when Mercedes was stripping, she was doing like a lap dance for this older guy, and he kept touching her on her privates, and it was so fucking gross. And she was like, don't touch me. And then he was like, oh, my hand slipped. And then she was like, don't let it happen again. And then his hand slipped again, and I was just like, ugh. I don't like strange people touching me. I don't know how folks can do it, without being traumatized, but I would be good for them, But anyways, Diamond be paying attention. He just be on it with his big, beautiful self. He ran in that motherfucker and booted that nigga out. He said, no touchy. No touchy. And then Clifford, she's outside. And she's outside talking to, I think it's the accountant for the place or something like that. And she sees Diamond kick this old dude out. This is gonna pertain to church. It's just a little part, but whatever. She sees Simon. Oh, girl, we mixing up shows. She sees Diamond. Yes, Diamond. I don't know what his real name is, but he fire. Oh, shut up, bitch. She sees Diamond kick this old dude out, and she's like, you see, you shouldn't be up in here touching and doing and whatever to this old dude. And then the police rolls up and the old dude runs away. And then Diamond gives her daily offering, I guess, to the police officer so he won't shut her down for having alcohol. I guess they made a law where they can't have alcohol and stripping going together or something like that in their city, county, state. I'm gonna find out where they live, okay? Don't come for me. So she gives, and that's going to pertain to later too, because that's some bullshit as well. And the accountant's just shaking his head. He's like, you need to stop giving people money. This is not the bank. And Diamond's just like, I'm doing the best I can do to survive. She is trying to help her and her girl survive and stay surviving and living and shit. You know, Diamond is, I don't know if you would call her madam, supervisor, because it doesn't look like, I don't know, because let's get to that. But anyway, so Mercedes in church, and Mercedes is like sitting there giving offerings and stuff, and the old dude that was filling her up is sitting across from her, and she's like, she has his wallet, so she stole his wallet, and she gives like $100 bill out the wallet to the offering plate, and then she looks at him, and then she gets up, and then she leaves the church. Then we jump to Clifford. She is in her bedroom. You know, she has to dress as a man in the daytime to go do business type things or to socialize with people, as to not make folks uncomfortable, I would assume, or whatever stupid I mean, they're in the South, okay? So it's bad enough in somewhere like Southern California. They're in the South, so she got to do what she got to do, okay? So she puts on her little suit with her little ascot, you know, and pops her nails off and stuff like that. And she goes to pay her loan. And it says something on the window. It was like, get paid now. The window at a fucking loan place. It was funny. But anyway, she goes to the loan place, and she's in line to pay her loan. And it's this Asian lady with a country accent. Clifford is at the window. She's at the window trying to pay her loan because she has a loan on her business. And she writes a check. And the lady at the window is like, no, you're not allowed. We have you on the wall now. You're not allowed to write checks here anymore. And Clifford's like, why the fuck not? For what? And the lady's like, because they bounced a lot. And so you can't write checks here. And Clifford says some fucked up shit about her husband, talking about, oh, well, you know, your husband be down at my club or some stupid shit. And then she just doubles down and says, you can't write checks still. You better figure it out or your little titty bar is going to be gone. So Clifford's like, whatever. And she leaves, and she's talking shit to all the people in line. All the people in line happen to be Latino. And so she's like, come down to the titty bar and come down to Panks and you can get this, that, and the other, and they won't take I won't take $35 off your check, and blah, 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 bloop, bloop. And I was like, okay. And then we skip to where we go. Hippity hop. Mercedes she also teaches some young girls dance routines for her church, I'm assuming, because she said something about church. And she's just teaching them a dance routine. And these little girls got little attitudes, and they pushing on each other and all this extra shit that don't need to be happening. I don't understand what the problem is. And so, you know, she tells them to take a break. She tells them to do 50 toe touches, because then her mom comes. Her mom is evil. This is gonna be the evil bitch in the show, the evil hoe. So her mom coming up, talking about how she a stripper and she's shaking her ass and it's sinful and shit like that. And Mercedes like, it wasn't sinful when I gave you that money so that you can get the loan for the church. So there's a theme here of loans. Loans are prisons for black people. Slavery for black people. Unless you know that you can pay some shit off and you know that you will stick to it and you know that this is a useful thing for you, I would be cautious with loans. So this is how they trap, you know, a lot of impoverished folks, is they show them these big numbers and say, look how much money you're gonna get, and you don't have to pay for like 3 or 4 months, and then, you know, black folks just take it. Impoverished people take it, you know, people that are easily manipulated take it. So I would just say, you know, if you feel like you are not going to be able to keep up with a loan, like, you know, for sure, for 100%, you know that you're probably going to spend most of this money on stupid shit, and then you're not going to be able to pay it back, and you're not going to be able to keep up with payments, don't do it, because there's a theme here now. Anyways, oops. She was dead. She wasn't moving, y'all. I'll look over and she's not moving. This was the first time it happened when I was touching her. Because usually she pops up when I'm touching her. So she must be really tired. I'm just going to leave her alone. But I for real thought she was dead. Y'all. I need a moment. I thought she was dead. I was like, Poos. I said, Poos. Okay. I'm probably going to cut some of that off. But anyways, loans are bad if you don't know how to manage your money. Going forward, so Mercedes' mom is evil. She's an evil bitch. She is a narcissist. She has narcissist tendencies, it looks like. I'm not going to diagnose somebody with narcissism just off bat like that. You need to assess longer than that. But it looks like she's a narcissist. And so here comes the blame and making her feel bad about herself and shit like that, while at the same time using her own child to get money for, whatever she needs money for sometimes. So, Mercedes and her mom's trash. And then we go back to the club. So this is the second night at the club. And it's kind of early in the evening, like what time it is now, like early in the evening. And so all the girls are coming in, and Clifford's talking to them about what they should do for the night and what the discounts are for the night for lap dances and things like that. And they're waiting for, I think her real name's Keisha, but they call her Miss Mississippi or something like that. I don't know. That's her dancer's name. So I'm going to be switching back and forth between real names and dancers' names in this, obviously. So Mississippi comes in and she has a black eye and she has her baby with her, and she just like, she looks at Clifford, and Clifford knows what's going on. She ain't no fucking fool, but she looks at Clifford and she goes, I fail. And Clifford's like, I know what cornbread and grits look like, and that don't look like no fucking whatever. I don't know, some country analogy where cornbreads and grits were going together in some way. See, poetry, bitch. What is wrong with y'all? Y'all acting surprised she picked a name called Autumn Nights when y'all be speaking just poetry every time you open your mouth. All these analogies, random shit. It's poetry. So, Clifford tells everybody to go to the back. And then she sits and she talks with Mississippi, and she's wiping the blood off of Mississippi's face. And she's telling Mississippi, like, you need to leave these niggas, and why are you with these niggas? And then she tells Mississippi that she had a nigga just like that. And she was saying that, the love makes you feel, that type of love makes you feel something. But it shouldn't feel that bad. And she's right. It shouldn't feel that bad. Yes, it makes you feel something. Emotional arousal is a good thing if it leads to a positive feeling, and it continues to lead to a positive feeling. Positive behaviors are sparking those heightened emotional. It's just emotional arousal. Like, so I can be highly angry, highly horny, highly anxious, highly sad. It's just emotional arousal. It's just an extreme of an emotion that you're feeling. That's what that is. That's all that is. When most of the time you're probably in that depression lane of feeling numb or feeling lonely or feeling sad all the time, and you're always feeling the same thing, and all of a sudden here comes a nigga that makes you feel highly angry. But at least it's better than just feeling the same all the time. Just stupid shit. I mean, I've been in that I keep looking at her because don't come for me. She's breathing, so it's enough for me. But, it's just emotional arousal. It's an extreme of an emotion after you felt the same thing for so long. After you felt one particular emotion for so long, then somebody comes along and gives you an extreme feeling of emotion. And so it feels like something. And then you want to go towards it, but in reality, it was just being extremely angry all the time. Being extremely sad all the time when I was just moderately sad, in the middle sad. It's just an extreme of an emotion. I know I keep saying that. Shut the fuck up, bitch. Oh. But, Clifford's right. I'm going to keep calling her Clifford until she changes her name. I don't know. She calls herself Uncle Clifford. So, look out for me. Listen for you, bitch. Thank you. I do not push. I just go with whatever people want to, whoever people say they are. Whoever people say they are, I just go with it until it changes. So, because it ain't got shit to do with me. And so, and that also is if I have a child too. You know, one day I'd like to have a child. If you ain't prepared for your child to turn out to be any and everything in this world, then you shouldn't have a child. And so I am prepared for any and every possibility of whatever I have to do, whatever I have to accept. I will accept it for my child. So that too, because I said it doesn't have nothing to do with me. But like, what if I have a kid and some shit? That has something to do with me. No. Even then, kids are autonomous, independent little people. You know, it doesn't mean that you don't give them rules and regulations and shit, but they still have voices and feelings and stuff. So if you tamper that down, they're gonna hate you, and either you're never gonna see them again, or they'll go to the extreme and kill you like the Menendez brothers. So you need to be prepared to accept your children, because fucked up shit will happen. As long as they're not doing like crazy shit that'll kill them or some shit. Like, I'm not going to accept you being a drug addict. We're going to get as much therapy as possible and work on it. But anyways, I went off topic. Anyways, so Clifford's talking to her, and she's telling her like, yeah, like it feels like something, but it's not. It's just an extreme emotion that you're feeling because you felt the same thing for a long period of time. And Clifford then goes on to say something about don't let him fuck up your money maker or fuck with your money. And Mississippi's like, what do you mean? I don't let him touch my money, blah, blah. And Clifford's like, no, your face, baby. You are a stripper. You're a face. You letting this nigga fuck your shit up. Like, what if he broke her nose? What if he broke her nose? Or what if, when people get that black eye and it's this big knot over their fucking eye that you can't cover? But I mean, she's in a cycle of abuse. So, or she might be scared of being murdered. One or the other or both. You can be in a cycle of abuse and really believe that honeymoon period while at the same time knowing that if you cross this nigga, he will murder you. People can hold multiple things in their brains, children. Yes. Mm-hmm. So, let me see. What happens next? So next we go to Clifford and his accountant. Ooh, she was gonna knock all that shit over. That would have been horrible. His accountant selling wings, a plate out of the window of the club. Like it's a drive-through, only it's a walk-up. And you take the wings and things like that. And, Clifford's still worried about the money that she owes. And her, accountant is upset about the money that she owes. But her accountant's like, oh, well, I mean, don't be mad about making extra money, doing what you have to do. Oh, I know. Clifford said some racist shit about Mexicans. And I swear it felt like I heard my mom and my grandmother and my aunts. And it's wrong, and I don't see people that way, but I swear I felt like I heard my family in her voice. And I was just like, what do you do with that? When people say shit like that, and you basically feel like you hear your folks in your head, like, oh, I mean, you still tell them, like, you shouldn't say that because it's wrong and racist and stuff, but it's a weird dichotomy. It is weird. It is. Mm-hmm. Because it was mostly Latino people in the line. And she was like, where do all these Mexicans come from? Blah, 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 blah. And I was just like, I heard my mom and I was just like, that's fucked up. We had interesting childhoods. I sure did. And then Clifford seems to be like a nice supervisor, pimptress, cause okay, so we'll get to that, but the reason I say pimptress, but she's like walking through the girls' little strip club area where they change their clothes and locker room. There you go. Locker room, and giving them high fives and telling them how cute they are and all this other shit. It's not like Players Club. It's not like gross where the owner of the club is just gross and it's like it just adds on to whatever trauma they may have to experience while being in that club. Like, feels like she understands them. Like, yeah, she's carrying Mississippi's baby, watching Mississippi's baby for her while she's walking through the strip club area. All the things. And then she tells Mercedes to take Autumn Night under her wing and show her how to deal with the club and the people in the club and shit like that, and who to scope out to get the most money from. And so Mercedes just like, I don't want to do that, fuck this bitch, blah 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 blah. And Clifford's just like, well, do you want to babysit this baby, or do you want to babysit this grown-ass woman and get some money? So something like that, along those lines. And so Mercedes goes out and she takes Autumn with her, and she's showing Autumn the, like, who has money in the club, who doesn't. This nigga in a suit, but he got the tag sticking out. That's nasty. I mean, it's bad enough that, you gotta try on clothes sometimes when you go shopping. But then you got niggas like that buy the clothes, wear them for who knows how the fuck long, before the return policy is up. And then take them back. I mean, you can wash shit, but shit like that, you can't wash. You can't just, like... Shit seeps into fabrics that isn't just washed out all the way after a while. Like, that's nasty. I know. I have problems. People do that, and I shouldn't judge them, but it's still gross. So, that dichotomy. So, anyways... Autumn is scoping out niggas, and then Mercedes goes off to dance with some nigga that apparently has swag or whatever. I don't know. He looked older. So I don't know. And then these, like, hood rat SoundCloud rapper pulls up to the club, and then he has a bag full of dollar bills, and it's like, I don't know, I think it's like $4,000. So his friend pulls out some of those green cubes that you put in plants, and he soaks it with alcohol and puts it in the bottom of the bag so that the bag could look heavier, like it has more money, like it has 8 racks in it. And it's funny because the rapper dude calls his friend the F word, for having the little flower things. And it's funny because later on what he does, I would think that, that would be something that you would call yourself the F word over if you don't, equate something to being about, sexuality. Like, your fingers are too thin. That means you're gay. Stupid shit. But anyways, they go up to the front door, and Diamond is a manly man, but he's gentle. Look up for me unless I send for you. Leave me alone. So Diamond is at the door, and he does not let these niggas in to the front. The niggas try to be like, oh, I'm this such and such rapper, killer, murder me, killer, whatever the fuck his name was. And he's like, y'all niggas need to get to the back of the line. Like, why? So he looking at Diamond and shit, up and down and shit, and then he goes to the back of the line. I low-key think he liked Diamond, because the way he was looking at him, he was like all up and down, but it was like for a long time, but you knew this nigga wasn't gonna fight this nigga. Why was you looking up? What? Shit. I think he on the down low, though. You don't throw the F word around like that freely. If you're just out and in the world, not in a derogatory way, right. So then we go to, I'm guessing, the back or the side of the club, like the lunchroom, or I don't know. And we see Mississippi. She's breastfeeding her baby, with tears trying to come out her eyes, because she know that nigga ain't right for her. She know that, but she don't know how to get away from him. She don't know how, and it's hard. It's hard going through domestic violence and shit like that, and you don't know what to do. And then that nigga probably be snapping randomly and beating her, talking about you're a stripper and shit like that. Nigga shit. Was she a stripper when you met her? Like, what the? So she's tearing up, probably thinking about that type of shit. You know, I just added this extras that I added, you know, a little spice. And Diamond comes back there with his little, this nigga got a little itty bitty 10 lunchbox, like those old school, like rounded at the top, like, you know, in the cartoons with the construction workers and shit on Disney and shit. He has a 10 lunchbox that's just slightly small for his hands, and man, it's beautiful. And you know, he sees Diamond, and then he's all just like very, very, very humble and gracefully says, "Yo, excuse me, I'm gonna go." You know, trying to give her privacy to feed her child. I don't care. Yes, the titty should be out and the baby should be fed and all this other shit, but I don't care. The nigga was graceful and humble, and I liked it. And she's like, "No, you know, come and sit and eat your Vienna sausages." I liked how she said it. It was like Vienna. I don't know how she said it. I don't want to fuck it up. But I liked how she called the Vienna sausages. And so he comes over and he sits down and he looks across and she pulls the baby up on her neck. And you can see the bruise on her neck where that nigga choked her. That nigga's gonna murder her. And she's like, ouch, 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 and shit. And then puts the baby on her neck. So, you know, whatever. And he sees her face in pain and he goes, "I could take that nigga out for you." No, I do not. I do not condone shit like that. It's the energy. It's the energy. It's the humbleness, the protectiveness, and big nigga. It's the energy. Oh, man, it's beautiful. And so she says, "No, because, you know, as many people as you killed, I don't want you to have another body on your conscience." And I'm just like, how? Because she said killed in these streets. I think that's what she said. How many people have... What were the circumstances of the killings? Was some of them on accident? So apparently he's killed people, and she doesn't want him to have another body on his conscience. So that's nice of her. See, some things are just nice to look at, not to experience. And that's okay. That's okay. No. But, you know, he's like, "Okay, well, I'm not going to kill him, but you should leave that nigga." Some shit. I don't know what he said. And then we shoot over to Mercedes is dancing. Ooh, is dancing. Even lap dance a little murder. That's the rapper that was in line earlier that wasn't shit and put the bricks in the thing and whatever. So she's dancing for him and he wants more. I guess he wants to fuck. And she's like, "Oh, well, you know, that's not, you know, money in your bag. That's bricks from the flowers." And he's like, "Oh, you an OG, you scope shit out, da 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 da." And she's like, "You know, what you gonna do with the 4,000? So he does have 4,000 apparently. What you trying to do with the 4,000? They look like they're all in ones. That's what it looks like. Like, I don't know. I guess some people want to pay for companionship in a legal, safe way. And sometimes you might run up on a prostitute. And you could take it further if the prostitute wants you to. So, you know, that made it make sense for me. There you go. I was like, how can I get that word? That made it make sense for me. So he's like, "Oh, well, if you don't want my stacks and blah, blah, blah." Then he sees Haley across the room, Autumn Nights. And she's dancing. And he's like, "Oh, that looked like Beyonce. Oh, da, 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 Beyonce's sister or some shit in the blue dress or whatever." like I said, when certain things give you privilege, that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to act on those things in a fucked up way. I haven't necessarily seen Haley act on those things in a fucked up way. She seemed like she more concerned about this nigga finding her and killing her or some shit. But, it's something to look out for. I like that there's dark skinned women on this show and they're giving them, the table to have like background stories and feelings and emotions. So I'm just gonna go with that. So she calls Haley over to dance and they dance for all the niggas. One of this nigga's friends is crazy, and because Haley won't look at him, he jumps up and tries to like fuck her up. But then our hero Diamond, who is nice to look at but not to touch, comes in and he threatens to wrap this nigga's balls around his neck. It was a beautiful scene. It was magnificent, very protective. And then nigga sits down. And then what's his name? Lil Murder. That's what it is. Lil Murder offers Mercedes more money to go fuck him in the back. So he takes her in the back. It looks like they fuck. When they come back to them on the camera, she's naked all the way. So, and she's listening to his music. And she ain't trying to rock with that shit. She's like, I'm an artiste. You want me to dance to this fucked up ass songs? And they ain't got the trebles, the beats, the whatever the fuck that goes with the music shit. It ain't got it. She's like, it ain't got it. It ain't got it. And he's like, why the fuck that? And she's like, I ain't dancing with this shit. I'm an artiste. And then we go back out to Autumn and she's still dancing for this nigga's two friends and they stupid and shit. And the crazy nigga once again tries to grab her because she not trying to let him kiss her neck and all this other stupid shit. Like, just gross. And it's like I said in other videos, predators will prey on those who don't have boundaries. She has boundaries though. She kicked him in the nuts. So he assumed she didn't have boundaries because she appeared uncomfortable with the dance. She didn't appear confident like Mercedes was. Like when Mercedes was touching on her, she was like, which is, you don't be felt on, that's your body and shit like that. So I understand that. But to predators, that looks like, oh, well, because she then let Mercedes touch on her, even though she didn't want her to touch on her, So to predators, that could look like, oh, well, she eventually let her, so what will she let me do? Right. So he didn't have boundaries. Like, she could have turned around and just started twerking on her or some shit like that. Things like that. But it takes time to build up shit like that because you got to get through a lot of emotional shit and fucked up shit and deal with all that pain and shit. And then eventually you'll have a habit of positivity. That's the goal. So anyways, he tried to do some shit to her and she kicked him in the nuts. And then here comes Diamond to the rescue again. He beat that nigga. It was amazing. So Haley runs outside and then Lil Murder, the rapper, he just let his homeboys get their ass beat. He walks off and he's trying to follow Haley, Autumn Night, to apologize to her and make sure she's okay. And then he runs into Uncle Clifford. And Uncle Clifford can't hear what the fuck he talking about. So Uncle Clifford takes him into a private room. I feel like, because he said it pretty loud to Uncle Clifford. And he said it 3 times and it got louder at each time. Like, I feel like did Uncle Clifford kind of know this nigga was like, not totally, liked penis. Did he know that? Did she know that? Sorry. Did she know that? And pulled this nigga into that room to set up a scenario. And of course the nigga, likes Uncle Clifford and is looking her up and down. And, Uncle Clifford feel all some type of way. And then he asked Uncle Clifford if she could play the the whatchamacallit, the song that Mercedes wouldn't play on her dance. So he's thinking Uncle Clifford has power like that to tell Mercedes what the fuck to do with her music and shit. No, sir. Anyways, we jumped to Haley. She ran out into the parking lot. She was having a flashback because that nigga tried to jump on her and fight her and shit. And so that flashed her back to when she was abused and shit like that. And so she ran outside and looked like she having a panic attack. Like she's bent over, she's breathing hard. It could have just been because she was winded because she was running. Because when she stood up, she started talking regular. So there was a nigga earlier in the day taking pictures of the place. And it looked kind of suspicious. And then he saw Haley run out, and then he got out his car and grabbed her arm and was like, "Are you okay?" And she's like, "No, get away from me," and shit like that, because she's still in the midst of her flashback and shit. And he's like, "Oh shit!" And she sees his camera around his neck, and she goes, "Are you taking pictures of me?" And then he says some stupid shit talking about, "Oh, I'm a realtor, and the prospective buyer wants to see what the place looks like at night." What? Huh? What are you talking about? Oh my gosh. And she believes him, and just because you've been through stuff don't mean that there are not parts of you that are naive, okay? And it's okay. It's human. It's just human nature. So they start talking and chit-chatting back and forth. She believes him about that shit. And then she's like, "Oh, you want to come in and dance and see us dance and see the club and all this other shit?" And he's like, "No, I gotta go." And she's like, "Oh," and he said, "I'll see you later, Autumn." And she's like, "Oh, well, actually my name is," and she told him her real fucking name. Bitch, where? You know what? It's not my business. It's not, because sometimes it's okay. Because I would just be like, that's weird that maybe the realtors do that and I was unaware, but nope. That's weird. It sounds weird to me. That sounds not normal. But maybe to her. And then she thought about it after she said her real name, and she thought about it. You could see it in her eyes. She was thinking about it, like maybe she shouldn't have said it or some shit. Then we go to Mercedes. She is prepping for her triple double axle on the pole. She's going for that gold, y'all. She's doing her stretches. She's putting the powder on her thighs. She's getting ready. She's preparing for her shit, y'all. And then her music, then she's walking out and that bullshit ass music is playing. So this nigga got Uncle Clifford to change Mercedes' song for Mercedes Sunday. It was to the bullshit ass song he tried to get her to play on herself. She was like, "No, they don't like him." So she's just looking at the DJ like nigga, you need to change. So he turned that shit off and put her original song back on. And she go out there and she just like, she's flipping, and she walked on the ceiling, y'all. She was flying, okay? And I just felt like, this is an athlete. She is a master at her craft. She is a master at her sport. This is athletes. It even went, like, when she got to the ceiling and she was walking on it and she was shaking her hair, it's like everything around her went quiet and all she heard was, herself. That's how much focus she had. It's like that scene in Love and Basketball, when she was playing basketball and she could hear like everything, and everything got super sharp and shit like that. It's like that. That is an athlete, y'all. That is an athlete. So yeah, she on the ceiling doing her thing and all this other shit. Haley outside telling niggas her real name, even though they obviously have a camera, and their story that they made up sounds like bullshit. But you know what? We all need to learn in our own ways, which is sad because, we shouldn't have to learn this shit. People should just be nice to each other and caring and understanding, and you know but it's bullshit. So Mercedes looks up and her mom is sitting in the crowd, and she's just like, why the fuck is this bitch here? So she's being triggered. Fuck, I'm trying to scratch myself. She's being triggered by her mom being there, and she just kind of freezes. And she has this bag of money that she won, and she's walking outside. I guess she's walking to her car to leave, and her mom meets her outside. This bitch gaslights the fuck out of her, talking about, you are a hoe and God is punishing me and all those people throwing money at you. She mentions the money at least 3 times. What did Jesus say? You gonna call my name at least 3 times before the cock crows 8, nigga. You gonna deny my name, nigga. So this bitch mentioned money 3 fucking times, and she probably didn't, but I don't know. So I'm gonna say she did. And this bitch, just to shut her up, and you could see it was like a light switch. Like, as soon as she held out the bag of money that she got, the bitch just stopped crying. She was like, because she got on her knees like a grown ass baby having a temper tantrum, y'all. It was fucked up. So she gets up, takes the money, and is like, well, I can always take a tithe and offering. Oh, stupid ass. You was calling her all sorts of bitches and hoes, telling her that she was a hoe, and God was punishing you, and da-da-da-da-da-da. Like, what the fuck are you... Oh, shit. And then she walks back, and she walks into Clifford's office, and she gives out some of her take to some of the other strippers. I don't know what that was about. I forgot. And then she tells Clifford that she's in the hole, and then Clifford was gonna keep the money that she got from old dude so that he could play his song and shit during what's her name? Mercedes dance. And she was gonna keep it. And then she said, no, let me give it to her because she's in the hole, and her mom gaslit her again. So, just the nicest person in a lot of different ways. It's a conundrum. And then, you had to go back to Mercedes, because Mercedes is an artist in her craft, but she was also affected by trauma that she was sexualized. So she told her mom that you made me shake it for those men to get breakfast at the Waffle House and shit like that. So her mom was doing something that was fucked up to her in a sexual way, offering her to men or offering them flirtatious encounters or sexual favors. That was all traumatizing. So, but in some way, she took what she learned from, what tried to break her, basically, and she made it into her own thing. And she's like an athlete and shit. This bitch is amazing. She walked on the ceiling, y'all. Who walks on the fucking ceiling? Who walks on the ceiling? Nobody. Nobody walks on the fucking ceiling. Like Spider Pig, something, Spider-Man Pig. Anyways, so what's her name? Clifford gives the money from old rapper dude that she was gonna keep, and gives it to Mercedes, and Mercedes is like, okay, thank you. And then Mercedes leaves and goes outside. And then the accountant who was there trying to count the money tried to stop Clifford from doing that because they owe people money. The accountant's just looking at Clifford like, the fuck you doing? And they're ha. So, and then we're outside, and Mississippi, this white girl that's a stripper, Mercedes and Haley are standing outside about to leave. And then Mississippi is standing there holding her baby. And I guess her nigga's across the way in some old ass Prius. It looks like it's been an accident. And she's just looking at the car, like all scared and shit. Like, what is this nigga gonna do to us today? Am I gonna be able to live through the night? It's not funny, but it's just like the audacity of this world. The audacity of people in this fucking world to make other people feel like that. Like, can you just it's dumb. It's dumb, I tell you what. It is dumb. So Diamond is standing behind her, just looking at her. Oh, he loves her. He loves the shit out of her. I don't know about the murderers people, the murdered people, but you know, he loved the shit out of her. So he's behind her and he's like, hey babe, or hey shorty, or whatever the fuck he said that was sexy. Do you need a ride? And she's like, no, there's my ride over there. Fuck that, looking like the devil car and shit. And so she walks off with her baby into this like demon car where she could be murdered or some shit could happen. And she's like, and then the white girl asks Haley if she wanted to ride home. And then Haley's like, no, Mercedes like, no, you can't have a ride home because the white girl was going with Mercedes. And so Mercedes like, no, she can't have a ride home, and fuck that bitch, blah blah blah, fuck that bitch. And Haley's like, no, that's okay. I'm going back home east or something. So I don't know, is she trying to leave because she got a little $1,000 or some shit? So now she's gonna try to leave and go back east or with her family. That's what she said. It made it sound like that. But or is her home just in the direction of east? I don't know, but it's a show, so they're gonna end up, she's not going anywhere. She's gonna stay there, you know. So yeah, that was, what was the name of the show? What was the name of the show? I will never mix these two ever again. This is Calarasi Sangria and Cream de Cacao. I will never mix these two ever again. P-Valley, episode 1, season 1, episode 1, Perpetratin. It was a good show. I liked it. I liked the first, it was an hour, so this video might be kind of long. I'm gonna cut some shit off. But I like it so far. I like seeing the different reasons, like, behind stripping and the real people. Like I said, I watched like vlogs of strippers and things like that just to see. It's interesting to see a different perspective on the world shit. So I think the show will be good. I think it'll be good. I kind of want to see how Mercedes' relationship with her mother develops, and then what are they gonna do with the underlying possibility of colorism in this show? Because I feel like we're in lukewarm water right now. I feel like I haven't experienced something that's not realistic. So yeah, it's a good show so far. I'm excited. I want to know who the photographer was at the end. Was he a private detective, or was he a midnight realtor? That's like he said. Like, yes. So yeah, I think I'm up to 172 subscribers now. So like, thanks for liking, for sharing, for subscribing. Please continue to like, share, and subscribe. I hope that my videos are entertaining, but also, you know, functional and useful and wise and all that other shit. Well, yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and later days.